I used to remove every dead leaf from my tomato plants, thinking it was the key to keeping them healthy. Then one season I stopped, and what happened next completely changed the way I garden. The plants didn't decline like I expected, they adapted. It started almost by accident. A few dry leaves were left at the base of the plants, and instead of rushing to clean them up, I decided to observe what would happen. At first, nothing seemed different. The plants kept growing, producing new leaves and stretching toward the light. But over time, small changes began to appear. The soil beneath the plants stayed moist longer. Those dry leaves created a natural layer, protecting the surface from direct sun and slowing down evaporation. Instead of watering as often, the soil retained moisture more efficiently. This simple change started to affect the entire system. The fallen leaves acted like a natural mulch. They helped regulate temperature, keeping the soil cooler during the day and more stable at night. As the days passed, the lower part of the plant became less exposed. The soil wasn't bare anymore, and that created a more balanced environment. Another surprising effect came from the soil itself. As the leaves slowly broke down, they began returning nutrients back into the ground. This natural process fed the soil without the need for additional inputs. Instead of constantly removing material, the system started to recycle it. During the second phase of growth, the plants looked stronger. The stems thickened, and the leaves became deeper green. Even during warmer days, the plants showed less stress. Watering became less frequent, but more effective. Rather than relying on constant input, the plants were supported by a more stable soil environment. There was also less disturbance. Previously, frequent cleaning around the base of the plants meant disturbing the soil regularly. By leaving the leaves in place, that disruption stopped. The soil structure remained intact, supporting better root development. As flowering began, the plants continued to show steady progress. Clusters of small yellow flowers appeared, eventually turning into fruit. The tomatoes developed normally, but something else stood out. The plants required less maintenance. Without the need to constantly remove every dry leaf, time and effort were reduced. At the same time, the garden became more efficient. By the third stage, fruit production was consistent. The tomatoes grew firm, colorful, and full. The overall health of the plants remained stable throughout the cycle. Of course, observation remained important. Leaves that showed signs of disease or decay beyond normal drying were still removed when necessary. The goal wasn't neglect, it was balance. Healthy dry leaves were left to support the soil. Problematic ones were managed carefully. This distinction made all the difference. Instead of following a rigid routine, the process became more natural. The plants were allowed to interact with their environment in a more complete way. As harvest time arrived, the results spoke clearly. The plants were productive, the soil was healthier, and the maintenance was simpler. What once felt like a necessary task turned out to be optional in many cases. The garden worked better when less was removed. This experience changed how I see plant care. Not every dry leaf is a problem to fix. Sometimes, it's part of a system that supports growth. By allowing natural processes to happen, the garden became more resilient. In the end, stopping one small habit led to a better result. Healthier soil, stronger plants, and a more efficient routine. Now, instead of removing everything, I observe first, and only act when needed. Because sometimes, doing less is exactly what the plants need.